to our top story now. A new shot fired in the US-China trade war. The Trump administration is moving to block Huawei from global chip supplies developed with US technology. It's also trying to convince leading chip makers to expand production on American soil. And Intel Corporation is a big part of that effort. And I'm pleased to say we're joined now by Intel CEO Bob Swan. Bob, fantastic to have you with us. You're actually the largest semiconductor manufacturer in the world. You obviously have a huge manufacturing footprint in the United States, but you also have a huge global supply chain too. What does more manufacturing in the United States mean to you, and will that global footprint shrink as a result?
Well, it's wonderful to be with you. First, as you mentioned, Intel today is the largest semiconductor company in the world. And we also have, by a long shot, the largest manufacturing presence here in the U.S., with significant presence in Arizona, in Oregon, and New Mexico. And over the last several years, we've grown quite a bit. We've added almost $15 billion in revenue to the company over the last 4 years or so. And as such, we continue to make significant investments here. As a company, we spend roughly $25 to $30 billion annually on R&D and on putting a global footprint in place to manufacture a product. In the lion's share of that R&D, over half of the capital and over half of our employees are here in the U.S. So we have a big presence here now, and we expect that presence to continue to grow.
But you are, and have confirmed that you're talking with the US government. You're, as you point out, perfectly placed to lead the effort if we want to see more US manufacturing-based technology in chips technology or microelectronics. Are you prepared to make this kind of technology for your competitors, or would this require some kind of consortium?
First, we are prepared to make chips, advanced chips here in the U.S. for other players in the industry, whether it be the U.S. government or whether it be other partners and competitors. We have not done that in the past. We primarily design chips and make chips here in the U.S. for our own needs. But given the increasing needs, a desire to increase our manufacturing footprint here in the U.S., and we do believe we're uniquely qualified to meet some of the requirements of the U.S. government and the industry, we are prepared to make the investments required to build a foundry here in the U.S.
Wow. And do you agree, therefore, given all the focus that we've seen, particularly in the last several weeks on supply chains, that less reliance on China for these kind of technologies is the right move, is a good move?
Well, to a certain extent, we design and build our own technology today, and then we ship those products across the world. We have very broad global footprint. We make money all over the world, and when we make that money, still predominantly today, we bring it back here to the U.S. to, again, invest in innovation and new products, and to invest in fabs to meet the growing demand of our much larger market that we serve today. So our presence is predominantly here in terms of R&D and manufacturing. However, our markets are global, and we want to be able to continue to meet the needs of our global customers.
Yeah, it's a delicate balancing act. Bob, I want to move on and talk about your corporate social responsibility announcement. You were making goals for 2030, but I can't pretend that I wasn't wowed by what you've achieved as of 2020 in terms of pay equality or focus on the environment, on diversity in particular. But I do want to hone in on what you said about 2030 and the fact that you don't want to be blindsided, caught off guard by what we've seen over the past couple of months in a pandemic, and therefore to leverage the technology that we have to strengthen our position and our standing going forward. How does that work in practice?
It's interesting. Well, as you mentioned, we issued our CSR report yesterday. And it gave us the opportunity, and the change from the last decade to this decade is, one, highlight the accomplishments, whether it's 71% green energy utilization around the world and 100% here in the U.S. Secondly, our company is 70% larger than when we entered the decade. However, we use 38% less water. From a diversity standpoint, which has been very important for our company, we have full U.S. representation in our labor force here in the U.S. and global pay equity. So in so many ways, we're very proud as a company about the accomplishments we've made. But at the same time, when we think about our purpose, which is create world-changing technologies that enrich the lives of every person on Earth, and some of the fundamental societal challenges that we have, we're looking as we set these goals for 2030, how do we bring that purpose to life on things like carbon neutrality, on things like continuing to move forward on diversity and inclusion, and things like how do we use technology for good, both in terms of the health and welfare of the society in which we operate. So we're very proud from a CSR standpoint about our accomplishments. But in so many ways, we see this next decade as an opportunity to really work together with partners, with customers, with competitors, with public enterprises, with private enterprises, to really accept a shared responsibility to step up the role we play, not just in delivering products and solutions, but in terms of making the world a better place.
Yeah, trust in technology, critically essential at this moment too. Very quickly, Bob, just talk to me about the future of work. We've gone to a virtual economy in the space of 5 weeks, and perhaps something that would have ordinarily taken years. What does the future of work look like? And do you think at some point in the future you'll ever have the same quantity of workers in the office, perhaps, that you had pre-pandemic?
That's a great question, and I don't pretend to know all the answers, but I know there'll be some commonality in terms of how we operate. And similar to when we came into the pandemic, and we started first and foremost with how do we ensure the safety and welfare of our employees? And that will always be first and foremost for our company. But secondly, we play a huge role in the technology that's deployed into the global infrastructure. And as we've seen in this pandemic, the essential use of the computer is so important. We've had to not only protect the health and welfare of our employees, but also our customers are counting on us more than ever, and we don't expect that to change. And third, in times of crisis and in times of normalcy, if you will, we always play an important role in the communities in which we serve. So those three things, those three priorities of welfare of our employees, delivering for our customers, and contributing to communities, that will stay the same. How we do it going forward is going to change, both in terms of how our products are consumed, but also in how we develop those products. And we'll use our purpose, create world-changing technologies to enrich the lives of every person on Earth. And those three fundamental priorities as we come out of this pandemic and going forward, I do believe that in doing that, that we'll be much more flexible in the rules we use in terms of the opportunity for people to work in the environment that makes the most sense for them, but also still having the essential services we provide that we have to have people in our plants to deliver for our customers.
Yeah, we've proved it works from a distance. Bob Swan, great to have you with us. Stay safe, and fantastic to chat with you this afternoon. Thank you, the CEO of Intel.
Have a wonderful weekend.